Hello and welcome to Next Gen Careers. I'm Michele Ehrlich. Today we're diving into an important topic, getting your adult child off of your couch. I am saying this to you as a parent myself of a senior in high school where I'm scared out of my wits that she'll never leave me. I love her very much, but at the same time, adult children need to get adult lives and start to be independent at some point, right? So, parents and kids today share many of the same pressing concerns. And I'm actually talking to you about this right now because of the pressing concerns that I've heard of in the polls. The election is tomorrow. And when we hear about the fears and the anxieties of people as they roll up to election day tomorrow, we hear about the same kind of concerns that a lot of people have, the rising costs of groceries that are straining the household budget, the scarcity of affordable housing options, the uncertainty surrounding pathways to citizenship for immigrants, if that's your situation, and the lack of accessible mentorship. There's more. The struggle to access high quality education at an affordable price, overreaching need for safety. These are issues that remind us that we need to be better and we need to have a more secure future for our children. But the reality is that we can no longer trust or rely on government or private industry to step in and provide solutions. And I'm talking about pensions where you used to be able to get a job that pays minimum wage. And at the end of it, as a trade carpenter or a trade union plumber, you could get a pension. As a teacher, you could get a teacher's pension. You could work for a company that provides a 401k. But these kind of opportunities are drying up. And so we need to take matters into our own hands. Me as a parent, I am in the same boat. I was a teacher for 15 years and I saw firsthand people would come to me and ask me about my Army veteran status. What can you do in the military? People would ask me questions outside of my English teacher role, outside of teaching Hamlet. They really wanted to know, how do you navigate this kind of world where the careers that used to be are not there? And now I'm a realtor as well in here in New York City. I get questions from people all the time that are buying or selling or renting. What are the pathways to affordable housing? How can I teach that to my kids? So I really needed to kind of step in here and do something off the cuff with just a dry erase board. I wanted to be a very pragmatic and forthcoming to you, and also be very timely because right now we're all kind of scared here about what we can do to help our children get off of our couches because a lot of times we don't. So I wanted to offer 10 different pieces of advice, some actionable steps that you can take right now that you can help to get your adult child, off of your couch or from out of your big living space. So I do have two books that will offer strategies for this as well. One is called The Best Careers for 2025 and Beyond, where I focus on non-traditional career paths like military, sales, entrepreneurship, trade skills, where you don't need that four-year degree. And then I have another book called Career Guide, New Careers for Next Generation People, which really focuses on taking out that student loan, investing in yourself, because the payout with a bachelor's degree, master's degree could be significantly higher. And is it worth it? It very well might be worth it for you to take out a student loan for them. So in my books, I'm providing practical and creative solutions and strategies. that answer these questions in ways that make sense for everyday people like me and my daughter. So I'm trying to empower readers of my books with the tools, and I'm trying to empower you guys with my YouTube channel here at Next Gen Careers with the knowledge and the confidence to carve out paths for themselves, for yourselves, and for your families in this kind of a changing world. So I hope that you can pay attention for a few minutes to my actionable advice of how you can get that adult child to move out of your basement in this changing world to ensure that your child is, you're not just kicking them out and they're going to be homeless. Of course not. You love them. You want them to thrive despite the uncertainties around them. So, as I mentioned before, trade skill jobs used to be highly attractive because they had pensions and retirement plans from companies also provided some steady income for workers long after they leave the workforce. That's what my parents relied on. That's what many people my age or a little bit older to retire are relying on. That might be you, but our children, not so much. The pensions that used to give workers a sense of security and used to give people the knowledge that their future was taken care of is not there anymore. These type of traditional systems are rapidly disappearing right as we speak. Boeing is in fight for they're on strike because of pensions. They don't want to give back the pensions that they took away, they froze a few years ago. But the people need that to survive. Why would you go into a career or a job when you know that they're not going to give you anything in return? My father, he was he was kicked out of IBM after 25 years. Luckily, he had 25 years in, so he got a small pension. Like not everybody is so lucky to have a job where you sit there for 25 years working diligently and you have some kind of financial security. So we have to create this for ourselves. We have to create this type of security on our own. And 401k plans, they're not there. Pensions, like I just said, um, they are not filling any gaps for us. They are less reliable and even phased out in some industries. And so we need to today, instead of hiding our head under the blankets, we need to enter the job market making smarter, more strategic financial and career decisions to be able to secure our children's future. So, uh, again, in my books, Best Careers for 2025 and Beyond, and Career Guide New Careers for Next Generation People, and also on this YouTube channel, Hot Next Gen Careers, I'm presenting innovative ideas and practical strategies to help you or your children make up for the loss of the pensions and the loss of their retirement. So from exploring high potential career paths to learning smart financial habits, I've got you covered to build a stable and prosperous future. So again, in today's world, it's easy to feel anxious about the rapid changing world around us. So whether that's the rise of AI, the impact of climate change, or shifts in global power that disrupt traditional industries and job markets, these all of these different changes. And then tomorrow is our election, and so many changes, so many worries that they make us fear that the traditional ways of making a living will become obsolete. Although a lot of these changes will make about 50% of jobs be obsolete, it doesn't have to be a cause for despair because if you pay attention, you really can see this as an invitation, really, to adapt, to innovate, and to embrace new. So, in both of my books and in my on my YouTube channel right here, Next Gen Careers, I outline practical ideas and strategies that empower people to face their future with confidence. So I'm really trying to show that these changes are not just challenges, but they're opportunities to be part of an evolving landscape. So with the right mindset and preparation, you and your adult children can look to the future as an exciting chapter where you and they can be actively involved in shaping what's next and securing a fulfilling and resilient career. So I want to first talk about overcoming fear and taking action. There's a reason why some young adults might find themselves stuck, living in their parents' basement or feeling paralyzed by fear. It's more common than we think. This fear can stem from various places. The fear of failure. It's a fear of not living up to expectation, or even a fear of not knowing where to start. But as the renowned producer Quincy Jones, who just died today at the age of 91, may he rest in peace, he said and advised during a Harvard commencement a few years ago, he said, choose love over fear. When we choose love, we open ourselves up to seeking support, taking action, and accepting help from others who can guide us forward. And that's where I come in. So choosing love doesn't mean that you need to follow me. It means love yourself, love your children, and just move forward one baby step. So I'm going to give you 10 ideas now to get your financial independence for your adult children. And even if you could embrace one or half of one of these changes, it is an act of love and caring that you're giving to your child. Because let's face it, helping them and supporting them and giving them advice or pointing them in the direction of me as a mentor who gives advice online is a tiny step in the right direction of love and not fear. So I'm talking about choosing connections and choosing to be vulnerable because we're all in the same boat. I'm in the same boat with my daughter too. You are not alone if you have a child who is an adult living in your basement. But when you choose to be vulnerable, asking for help and taking action, even if it's little baby steps, when you choose this, you are choosing to reach out to help. And that could be from help from me, help from friends, other types of mentors, and also other anybody that is in your life or online who have navigated these challenges before. So then you're no longer standing still when you're reaching. You are no longer letting fear control your decision. Instead, you are moving a little bit forward at a time and with a purpose. So let me first talk about minimum wage and home. I'm a realtor, so I deal with home ownership and the lack of affordable housing all the time. And it does seem heartbreaking, but there are workarounds that I've seen. And so I'm not going to lead with doom and destruction. I'm going to lead with love and hope and optimism because I can get you to own a home if that's what you want to do. So I'm going to talk about that on a future episode, really just to break down the numbers of minimum wage. The minimum wage per hour, it varies state to state here in the US, but the bottom line is even at the best case scenario, like New York City has a 16 plus dollars an hour minimum wage, it's still not enough, according to Zillow, to afford an average home with a value of now almost $360,000 US. So financial experts typically recommend that housing costs should not be more than 30 times your income. And so if you're working minimum wage, that's not going to cut it. Uh, and so if you don't like to go to school and you're thinking that instead you'd be a plumber or an electrician, those are still high demand jobs, but the unions that used to back them are not necessarily going to. So well, you're going to have to find some workarounds to get you into a better position if you don't want to go to school, better than something paying the minimum wage, because it really is just not enough. But there is no need to fear because there are alternate paths to success. And you don't have to have that 4 year degree to secure a well paying job that aligns with your passions. So maybe your child likes music or art or other fields where you say, oh my gosh, is my child going to be a starving artist? It doesn't have to be that way. These fields that were once called musician and artist, starving artist, they can have a viable career paths too that can lead to financial stability. So you don't like school, you don't feel good in academics. There are roadmaps, alternative ones to rewarding careers that will get you out of your parents' face. In my books, Best Careers for 2025 and Career Guide, New Careers for Next Generation People, I explore various industries and roles that offer competitive salaries without requiring extensive academic qualifications. So on my channel, I'm providing guidance and mentorship and insights into careers that both are fulfilling and financially rewarding. So stick with me if you are one of those parents who desperately want to find a game plan for getting your child out of your basement. Then I want to give you some actionable takeaways in today's post. So if you're ready to explore options to get your adult child off your couch, this is 10 practical ways, and I made them very simple on my dry erase board because I wanted to be uh, this to be time sensitive and just to get the information out as soon as I can. 10 ways that parents can encourage their children to move out of the basement and transition to independent living. These type of strategies can help guide your adult child towards independence while maintaining a supportive relationship with you. So, like I said, even let's listen to the 10. Even if you can embrace one of these steps, you that is a loving thing to do. That is embracing change thing to do for you and your child. Um, it might seem daunting, but let me break it down more for you. Grab my dry erase marker as a good teacher that I have been for many years. And number one, we were talking about expectations and deadlines. So what do you want to do with them? You want to set them. So I'm going to write the verb in. Why do you want to set expectations and deadlines? You want, as a parent, without any clear communication, you know that your child is going to just continue to live in your basement indefinitely. So instead of having that situation, you can have an honest conversation and set some kind of a deadline. Maybe it's a 6 month timeline for your child to move out of your base. So with, for example, a 6 month timeline, um, you can have a structured goal, and then your child can begin to make concrete plans for next steps. So I have a couple questions for you. Have you clearly communicated your expectations with your adult child? Maybe that is part of the problem, that they think that they can live there forever because you've never mentioned otherwise. But this is not helping your child. because eventually they are going to adult and be independent. And I mean, if you want them as your crutch, that's on you. I don't think that most adult children want to be their parents. I do believe they do want independence and they are living there out of what they think is necessity because perhaps you haven't clearly communicated your expectation for them to move out of it. So you do need to do. And then how comfortable are you setting a deadline and sticking to it? So once you set that deadline, sticking to the plan and referring back to it is so important. Here's an actionable step. You want to encourage your child to read my books, either the one geared towards going to college and making the most out of that, which is called Career Guide, or not going to college and making the most out of that. That book is called Best Careers for 2025 and beyond. Both of these books are aligning practical ideas with high growth job paths. And then, of course, you want to subscribe to this YouTube channel, Hot Next Gen Careers, on YouTube, because I give weekly tips on career transitions and how to make the most of your career journey. So, aside from setting expectations, I wrote number two, living expenses. So, you want to charge rent or charge living expenses to your. So I'm going to write here charge because it's not doing your adult child any favors by letting them stay rent and expense free. That is called freeloading, and you don't want to advocate for your child to budget or to you or to anybody else in this life. Life, there's a price to it, and so you as a parent, you can decide to start charging a modest rent to encourage your child to prioritize budgeting. And then that could then motivate your child by seeing what expenses are or now having to pay something to look for higher paying jobs and realize that living rent free is a safety net, but it's also holding him from pushing or her back from financial independence themselves. So I'm going to ask you, what amount could you reasonably charge that would push your child to act without creating financial strain? Only you know that number based on what your child is making right now, adult child that is, and how much your expenses are. So also, how would contributing to household expenses shift their minds? So you really want to not shield your child, adult child, from expenses. You want them to have a mindset that things cost money. Nobody can freeload off of anybody. And therefore, we have to start to make decisions that will impact our futures in a lucrative way. So an actionable step could be to sit down with your child and go through budget planning. Tell them how much you spend on heat, hot water, gas, electric, your rent or your mortgage. You can have them read specific chapters from my career guide book that discuss jobs that pay well with minimal education requirements. Or you could talk about your child taking out a student loan or you taking out a parent loan to invest and suck it up right now because it is expensive to go to school, but school also leads to the highest pay. So these are discussions that you should be having about finances and budget with your child. Next, we're going to move on to what I called financial planning 3. And the verb that I'm going to put for that is encourage employment and financial plan. So you want to get your child to think about what things cost, what we were just talking about, and then have some kind of a plan in place. So maybe your child is a college dropout. Maybe they lack motivation or had difficulty finding a career path that suited him or her uh, and their strengths. But as a parent, you can encourage your child to look at careers that don't require advanced degrees, but still offer growth potential. Like uh, watching my YouTube channel, Hot Next Gen Careers, you or your child can find opportunities in tech support and digital marketing, and that could help him or her land a stable job. So, a question for you then is, does your adult child have a job that aligns with their skills and potential? And then, if they do or if they don't, are they aware of job opportunities that don't require extensive academic qualifications? So, if not, I recommend that you or they read the section on top paying careers without a college degree in my best careers for 2025 book, and that you encourage them to subscribe to my YouTube channel for guidance on jobs that are practical and also. So now I want to move to number 4, education. You want to promote skill building and education. I'm going to write the verb from because we don't exist in a bubble. We need to build our skills in order to succeed in this life. You might have an adult child that's living at home struggling with career clarity. And then maybe you as a parent are you could push her or him to take certification courses in something that they like graphic design, or something that they really liked in high school. So these courses, which that can be discovered through my videos on this channel, can help her or him secure freelance positions and eventually can help them transition into full-time roles. So a question for you is, what skills does your child already have that could be enhanced with training? Do they love baseball? Do they love flying? There are jobs out there for people that like this stuff. Do they love hair and makeup or hair ornament? There are more lucrative careers than working in the world. So, or Sephora. Those are not lucrative careers. But if you like something, then you should go and thrive in that field. And then a question for you as parents: are your children open to trying short-term courses or certification? So with that in mind, you might want to direct them to go to specific chapters in my career guidebook about high demand, in demand skills and short-term training opportunities, um, or my YouTube videos that discuss certifications and skill building terms. But ultimately, it could be a nice holiday present to buy them a certification course because you are then investing in their future. Now I want to go to goal setting is my number 5. You want to foster goal setting for you. Nothing can be reached. I'm going to write the verb foster. Nothing can be reached really without a goal. So, as a parent, you really want to try to encourage your child to maybe create a vision board. Those are something that are kind of new. You can find online or books on how to do it or just Google it. But you want both financial goals and career goals. So if you see your objective, or he or she, your child, sees their objective every day, it will keep them motivated. And then with some guidance from career-focused content like I have on this YouTube channel, your child will manage to secure a stable job because a plan of attack it is a move that should be made. And if you plan your move, um, maybe it's a move to share housing with somebody in a year. But if you plan a move, if you write it down, it's more actually happen, and statistics say it's not just me. Um, so a question for you as a parent, does your child have clear written goals that they're working towards? And then how often do they check in on these goals? So if they don't have these plans, these goals written down, suggest they write them down, short-term and long-term goals, and then revisit them monthly. You can use examples from my Best Careers book to set realistic and achievable career and income milestones. But ultimately, the goals should be more than just, I want to buy my parents a mansion when I'm rich, because that's not a real. How are you going to? That's a result. A goal is to and add value to the world. So how might you do this? Might you do it through adding beauty to the world? So think, could it be by helping the earth, or if you like people, helping children, helping elderly? So what is the best way that you can add value to this world? And then go about figuring out a short-term and a long-term plan to actually create a vision of how you're going to add value. By adding value, you will get to your job that you're looking for. But a goal is not to buy something, or a goal is not to be rich. A goal is, what do I want to do? Who do I want to help? Or how do I want to help? And how am I going to get there? So by looking at goal setting, and going back to it, I do it too. Even at night, I remember I just watched. It's an old, couple years old film, but King Richard, about Serena Williams and her sister. That he had them write every night goals for the next day. So if you write down at night a few things that you have plans for the next day, then you wake up with a motivation to keep. You have a list of things to do, and then you're going to go about publishing that list. So I'm going to move on to number 6, mental. You need to, as a parent, we all need to support emotional and mental well-being. So I'm going to write the verb support, because kids nowadays, let's face it, adult kids, young kids, adults, we are struggling with anxiety. And this kind of an anxiety for a young adult could really keep them from taking the steps towards independence. And as a parent, you can encourage your children to watch supportive and motivational videos like the ones that I have, because I will always have your child's back. Herbert Hoover said, a chicken in every pot. I say a mentor for every pot. If they have no one else, just have them tune into me, because I've got their back. I highlight stories of others overcoming similar struggles, and then maybe there could be some kind of professional therapy that you could seek out, or telehealth for your child, that eventually your child will begin to make progress towards understanding what their anxiety is, and then overcoming, and ultimately moving out of there. So I have a few questions for you about this. Does your child have access to mental health resources? And then, are they open to watching stories or listening to advice that could inspire them? Really, we need to reach out to others by uplifting motivational videos is one opportunity on my YouTube channel to really think about your mental health. But also, if you pair this with sections from my books that touch on finding careers suited to personal strengths and well-being, you or your child will really be on the road to kind of figuring out what is mentally blocking them and hoping to unblock in order to have them move towards it. Number seven, I'm talking about housing. So as I mentioned, I'm a real estate agent. So I do deal with buyers and sellers and renters. And even if I wasn't a real estate agent, everybody knows that housing costs are through the roof, right? And so as a parent, we could introduce them to roommates or, if at all possible, affordable housing. So I'm going to say introduce because maybe they haven't thought of it. Maybe they think that all housing is affordable, therefore they're just going to keep living with mom. And your child might be like that as well, hesitant about moving out because of the high cost of living. But as a parent, you can encourage your child to connect with friends and to look for housing. There is also the tips on budgeting for shared apartments on my YouTube channel here on Next Gen Careers. And this could give your child the confidence to find a suitable living arrangement. So there are options out there to get a guarantor if they're not making enough money. There are companies that will guarantee for a certain fee if you can't guarantee them. But just because they can't afford it on their own doesn't mean they can't move in with some friends who probably their parents are also trying to get them off of there. So a question for you, the listener. Would your child be open to sharing a living space with others? Hopefully it would be a good friend and not a stranger. And are they aware of affordable options in their area? So there might actually be affordable options in your area. Where I live in New York City, there isn't. But where you live, there might be. So you might want to look on one of those cork boards at the supermarket. There might be somebody just wanting to rent out a room or rent out an apartment in their two-family house for cheaper, and they want somebody local, which is why it's on the cork board at the local supermarket. But you as a parent really should be trying to help them research shared living arrangements or community boards, like I said, at the cork board at the supermarket. I look at it too, because those are people that are looking for local people. And sometimes because they don't want to advertise it to the world, their apartments could be even cheaper than what you find on Zillow. And then, of course, I have budgeting strategies in my books, Best Careers, to plan for these options. Next, I want to talk about number 8. I said life skills. We need to start to teach or reteach practical life skills to our children. So I'm going to say teach because this one, you don't need to be a teacher to do it. As a adult yourself who's a parent, you have gone through this world. And so you as a parent, you might realize that your child, despite wanting to move out, is really not ready with the basic skills like budgeting and meal planning. And so you as a parent might want to set aside a time, maybe once a week, 5 minutes a day, to teach your child about these essential skills that you don't really even think about, but that is necessary in order for somebody to be independent. So You can teach your child some life skills. I teach them life skills on my YouTube channel here. And then I also teach about budgeting and financial independence. So within a few months, you should be starting to chip away and make your child feel more confident enough to move out into their own lives. So I have a couple questions for you here. What practical skills might your child need help with before moving in? And then are they willing to learn these skills hands on? So, of course, it has to be a willing participant there. So maybe you can schedule regular learning sessions at home. You can refer to chapters of mine in your guide that focus on managing finances and basic self-sufficiency skills. So you could also recommend videos on practical tips from my channel or other YouTube channels. So ultimately, you are going to need to make sure that your child has the life skills, and in order to do that, you can teach. You have the skills from living in this world also. Don't need to be a teacher to do it. Number 9, I have network. So you really want to connect your child with networking. So I'm going to write the verb connect. Even if you live in a rural area with not that many people, there are opportunities to connect with others online, something like meetup.com. Um, but as a parent, you might have noticed that your child doesn't have any career momentum. So you could suggest that he or she attend local networking events or online events. Like I said, that has those as well, or Facebook groups. Also, there are local networking and professional channels like mine, Next Gen Careers. Through these kind of networks, your child can actually find job leads and direction, and even ones that match with their particular skills. Because if you join a group, if your child loves baseball and he or she joins a group relating to baseball, it could very well lead to employment in that industry and then ultimately financial. So to you, parents, questions for you: is your child connected to any professional or community networks? And then would your child be open to mentorship or career building events? So you should encourage them to join online groups or attend local career fairs. You can suggest that they watch videos on networking strategies from my channel and then explore related sections in my career guide to get the most of mentorship opportunities. I cannot stress enough, and I'm going to come back to it in a few minutes, the importance of mentorship. I did not have one. I had loving parents who encouraged me to do whatever it was that would make me happy. I went to a great school, and I also didn't have a mentor in there. Somebody, not somebody to love you. Hopefully, you have parents and family to love. But we're talking about career guidance. What should you do with your career? What is the best path forward for you and your personality? That is a real mentorship, and we all need it. And even as adults, we particularly I like to say, Herbert Hoover said, a chicken in every pot. I like to say, a mentor for every child. If your child doesn't have it, you should seek it out online. You can seek it out in their schools, or at the very minimum, I've got your child's back as a mentor here on Hot Next Gen. I am here for your child. Last but not least, number 10, offer a gradual transition plan. So for transition plan, I'm going to say off, because if you don't have any possible plans to offer up. How on earth is your child going to know what to do? Um, Maybe your child isn't ready to move out immediately. So you as a parent, you need to work on a phased plan. Maybe you could start by um, having your adult child stay part time at a friend's place, or and then gradually become comfortable with going. Again, watching stories that are relatable on my YouTube channel, Hot Next Gen Careers, um, can help. They can resonate with your children and their situation, and it could motivate them to embrace a transition. So, question for you as parents: would a gradual move out plan make sense for your child? And then, how can you create a transition plan that's both supportive and motivating? So, what I think I suggest you do is to outline a plan where your child spends weekends or a few days a week outside the home to build their independence. And then encourage your child to watch related transition advice on my channel and then read case studies in my book, Careers, to see how others successfully made this change. By incorporating advice from my books and my YouTube channel, parents like you can provide adult children with tools and insights and motivation to gain independence and to move forward with confidence. So, back to mentors that I just said. This is where mentorship comes in. They offer wisdom, they offer guidance, they offer encouragement that propel your child toward their goals. The question often is, where do I find mentors? And this is precisely where my books come in, where I can help you not only to give you strategies for exploring career paths that fit your strengths or your child's strengths and functions, but also I have a practical advice on finding and approaching mentors who can support you on your journey. So then the next steps would be taking small baby steps, but you want to be deliberate here. A step in the wrong direction is not a good step at all. But by opening yourself up to seeking guidance, whether through reading books like mine for strategies or exploring my YouTube channel for videos that break down how to find mentors and make connections in your field of interest, that remember, you're choosing love like you were told by Quincy Jones, who in his Harvard commencement said, choose love, not fear. You're choosing to believe in yourself. You're choosing to believe in your child. You are accepting help from others or seeking out help. And that's a bold action that is going to create a future that is uniquely yours. So, in conclusion, while it may feel overwhelming for parents who have adult children still living at home, whether on their couches or in their basements or in their childhood room, there is hope. You, as parents, have the power to help earn the time and guide your children toward independence and success. By fostering conversation and setting clear expectations and offering resources, you can be a catalyst for positive change in their lives. And even if guiding them feels beyond your expertise, remember that help is available. My books, Best Careers for 2025 and Beyond, and Career Guide, New Careers for Next Generation People, offer practical insights and direct paths to mentor. and strategies and tools that can support your child on their journey. With these resources, you as a parent can point your adult children toward opportunities that align with their strengths and their interests. Ultimately, that will lead them to a brighter and more independent future. So, again, I'm going to reiterate my 10 steps to getting your adult child off of your couch. You want to set expectations and deadlines. You want to charge them some kind of living expenses or rent. You want to encourage them to financially plan. You want to promote education that will lead to a good and lucrative career, even if it means borrowing money. Okay. You want to foster goal setting because it's been proven that if you have a goal and if you have the goal written down and you refer back to it often, you will reach your goal more clearly. And then I have written down number 6, support mental health. Children, adults, everyone is filled with anxiety, especially right now, the tomorrow in the but there's telehealth, there's me as a mentor on my YouTube channel right here, Hot Next Gen Careers. Please subscribe, where we talk about how to keep your sanity, not be fearful, not be filled with anxiety, and to move forward little by little in a positive way towards your financial independence. Number 7, you want to introduce housing options. That could be living with friends, using you or someone else as a guarantor, or companies offer to be guarantors. If they combine forces, your adult child and your friend's adult child, or some of their friends, they could really pull themselves out in affording to move out from your. Then I have number 8, teach life skills. You are an adult. You've been adulting your whole life now. You know how to do it. And so these are some kind of practical things that you can teach young kids. It could be meal planning to how to shop in a savvy way. All of these things you learn because you're a survivor yourself. So you can impart this kind of little by little on your child to encourage them to also have this type of life skills. Number 9, connect by network. There's online tools. If they're in a school, in high school, in a college, there are, or at their job, there are plenty of people that want to be mentors. I'm trying my best to be the mentor that, if all else fails, I do have your child. So you can read my books, watch my YouTube, reach out to me, chat with me. I am extremely available because this is so important to have mentors for our youth. It could be family or friends, anyone who has had some success in the life could offer some type of guidance to your adult child. So reach out to those networking online or in person, the more mentors for everyone. And then finally, offer a transition plan to your child, your adult child, because without a game plan, really nobody's going to get anywhere. So we need to be clear, we need to be encouraging, even at a time where groceries are through the roof, education is through the roof, housing is through the roof. The climate of work is changing with AI and climate change. And let's just throw it into the mix, all of the political turmoil with wars going on in the Middle East, in Ukraine. It's easy to feel anxiety. I am with you here in that capacity. I want to get your children out of your basement, off of your couch. And I offer practical steps to do that. And so even if you can take one little baby step from this video, go ahead and rewatch it and try to see where you could plant a seed in your adult child's mind to give them more hope, to give them a plan, to give them a goal, to help them set their life in a direction where they're not going to be in their childhood room for the rest of their day. Because ultimately, companies are not helping us out with pension plans anymore. And unions are not necessarily going to be around. Social Security, who knows? And so we need to step by step make plans, take it into our own hands. And I give you a lot of viable options of how to do that. And I'm going to continue to do that every week. I give you guys more videos, how to take practical steps towards your career savviness, to be more career ready, to get that great high demand, high growth, high salary job. It's in my books, it's on my YouTube channel here. Please subscribe. Thank you so much for listening. And I do wish for you and your children the absolute success in the world. I got to.